going. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another round of our IRL F1 2019 PC Tier 1 Championship. And today, the calendar getting to the thick of its 10th round, halfway through the calendar. And today, we are brought to Northamptonshire and the birthplace of Formula 1 and of course or most motorsport in general. We have the Silverstone circuit, the mythical Silverstone circuit. 18 turns are going to compose the extension of a lap of about 5.8 kilometers, and they are going to be repeated 26 times this afternoon during the race, of course, not taking into account the qualifying laps, which of course are going to be plenty as well. The Pirellis are going to be the C3s marked in red, as they are the softs. The mediums in yellow are going to be the C2, and the hards in C1, as Pirelli brings their hardest compounds to the British Grand Prix. Moving to the standings, we have Shadow leading the championship with 151 points, about 50 points ahead of Plexit, as Infamous follows in P3, 1 point behind the second Renault. After that, we have Iceman in P4 as Cruisix climbs up to P5 with 55 points. After that, we have the McLaren of Andy Nater with 53, with iCurly not too far behind, J. Cole in 8, followed by Lehman in the best of the Williams in 9th, and Entity closes the top 10. Then moving to the constructor standings, we do have Renault still leading the championship, extending their lead after their 1-2 finish at Austria. Now it is a 137 point lead over Alfa Romeo. They've scored more than double the amount of the Swiss team, as McLaren follows in third, tied with the Racing Points team, both with 99 points, 30 points ahead of the Red Bull team, followed by the groove-based Williams. Then we have the American-based AS F1 team 2 points behind in 7th, with Toro Rosso in 8th, Ferrari in 9th, both Italian teams with 21 points, and in last place we have Mercedes team only scoring 5 points so far this season. So with that, we can get ourselves started with our qualifying session, just sorting everything out on my second monitor. And today, of course, as it's going to be a regular appearance in our commentary booth, we have Jess. Hello, how are you doing?
Good evening, I am good, and I'm very looking forward to Silverstone. It is a home Grand Prix of many of the drivers and myself as well, and it's just one of those races where it always brings so much excitement. The crowd love it, and a lot of people go to it every year, so I really do hope that the drivers have a good race today.
But it's going to definitely be a good one, of course. A mythical circuit. Let's see, as the drivers come out of the pits, if anyone is going to recreate the spin of Romain Grosjean. We only have one driver Indy has today. No, we actually have both of them. We have Entity and Bashimi. So we have double the chances of someone making a Grosjean coming out of the pits. Let's see if that actually happens. I've seen it before in the game. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. In the meantime, we have a few debutees today, as we have Ray, who is going to do his debut race as a full-time Mercedes driver, and we also have Blitzkrieg. Looks like, where is he? Yes, he's in 13th in the McLaren, so driving the number 69, is going to make his debut today. Do you know any of the drivers, Jess?
I know Ray. I'm a good friend of Ray, but I'm going to remain impartial because it's the stream. But he's a really good driver, and he's very clean as well. But there's some races where he's good, some races where he's not. I really do hope he gets a good result tonight, because we've seen many other drivers, including I think Infamous, have a really good debut result in ILR PC. So I hope Ray does the same.
It's going to be interesting to see nonetheless. So I'm going to, a few drivers have already started their flying laps. So for example, Mist Q is the one that's standing out to me at the moment, as he's going on a set of hards. Maybe some practice laps at the moment. He's just going to try to get a few laps in. Not sure if... Oh, he's actually aborting the lap. So yeah, just some practice on those hard tires before going for it on a set of softs, or even possibly a set of mediums. So we have Gilbowand already started with his flying lap. I'd like to follow someone who is yet to start their lap. So I'm actually going to follow it Cruisix. Cruisix was really had a good race. He's on a good form. He got a P2 at France and he got 5th place at Austria. So those two are the best results of the entire season for him. So he's on a bit of increase in form or improvement in form. So we're actually going to follow on board with him as we are going to follow the flying lap. Or at least his attempt at establishing a lap time. So let's go through the last corner of Club, getting himself now committed as hard as he can through Abbey and now through Farm turn 2. Not too hard to do before going on the brakes about 100 meters away from the village, taking the car to the right hand side for a better angle of approach through the loop. Turn 4, getting now through turn 5. 100 acceleration, you need to be smooth on the power to not lose any time, going down the very long Wellington Straits. Now it's a tricky braking zone into Brooklands as you brake at about 70 meters away from the corner. Trying to spot the apex is also a bit hard as he now just gets the car along the Woodcut, Luffield, and now is through Woodcut. The last corner in the previous layout is now getting himself through the first corner in previous layout. He does cut the corner a little bit, not sure if he's going to get his lap nullified because of that one. He did touch the grass a little bit. He's still going for it through Maggots and Beckets as he's still in mode 3 of ERS, so he's not saving. Doesn't look like he got his lap aborted, getting now through Chapel and up through the Hunger Strait up to Stowe. It's going to be another tricky braking zone once again. Let's see, he actually extends the corner there on the exit. Not sure if the game is going to allow that. He gets down through a Vale. And now through the last two corners. Smooth on the power is required of him. Let's see what he does. And he gets himself through the line. A 126.7. And yes, looks like
that was invalidated.
It was invalidated, yes. Very unfortunate stuff for him. He's going to have to try again later on. Anything that catches your eye, Jess?
Not at the moment, but currently on pole is Lemon with a 127.1. But if Cruise 6 was able to get it validated, it would have been in the 126 already. That is what we could expect today in qualifying is 126s. And with Lemon really close to the 126 marks, I think it is very possible for any one of these drivers to get a high 126 tonight.
Yeah, I would say maybe they could go even a bit lower than that if they are actually pushing, because I don't know to what extent these drivers are pushing at the moment or if they are just doing some practice laps, because of course the medium start is also a possibility, especially with the reduced pack today. There's less of a chance of them dropping out of the top 10, or if they drop out of the top 10 they won't be losing as many places as we only have 14 drivers today. So I do expect the times to start dropping quite a bit. Not sure to what extent the quickest times are the drivers giving their all at the moment. Shadow completed his lap with a 127.8, but he was saving ERS for a big part of it, so he's surely going to have another crack at it. Smith Q is the only one at the moment opting for the harder compounds parts, as the number 51 is getting on a lap on the mediums, currently on his out lap. So yeah, we have a bit of a different approach from him, so let's see how that one goes. We also have Ace of Spades, who got 9th place at Austria, and ooh, a big mistake there, 2 Magazine Beckets, and he's going to have to try that one again.
Oh,
yeah, and the rear. Yeah, there's not much traction in the grass. Maybe it's just finding it out the hard way, but it is what it is. And I'm actually curious to see what Ray does. I also know him. I know he's quick. He does suffer from a bit of lack of consistency. But
yeah.
let's see what he does. He's going to do his debut today, and I'm actually interested in seeing what he has to showcase today. Jess, what do you expect from him?
I don't know. Since this first race in ILRPC, I guess he's not going to expect that much today. I think he just wants to possibly get in a point, show what he's made of, and then as soon as he can get some more consistent results, that's where we could possibly aim higher as well. And he's going to find it a lot more challenging for his debut race because obviously it is dry qualifying. and it's a dry start to the race. But I've been told by one of the drivers it's going to be a dry start and a wet end to the race. So we may see some inters involved towards the end, or we might see a wet track, dry tyre kind of challenge towards the end, which I don't know what tyres are going to go on anyway, but that's going to make things very, very exciting. And we may see more people opt for the mediums because of that.
Exactly. Maybe they are going to try to stretch the mediums until the rain, or maybe I'm not sure. Of course, we are not exactly sure when the rain is going to show up, but maybe we could have Bold Soul going on the hards, taking them until the rain. It could be it could be quite interesting to see, because that rain at the end is sure to scramble up the order. Perhaps, of course, we can never count the weather out. The famous British weather here at the Silverstone circuit. It's not as unpredictable as, for example, Spa, but it does spice up the races from time to time.
And China as well. I've seen a lot of races where China brings up a lot of rain this game. More than last game, I think. So it's nice that we're having more rain in this game, because the last game there was hardly any. So it just spices things up a bit. Get a few drivers to think on their feet. They're not just practice for the dry all the time. And what I think anyway is, what setup will these guys be doing? Because it's going to be a wet end to the race. Will they want to have a little bit of wet setup maybe, or will they want to make it balanced? If I was them, probably a more balanced setup will be useful, because we don't know when the rain is going to come. They said end of the race, but end of the race might be 2 laps before the end, 5 laps before the end, 8 laps before the end. You never know with this game. Every lobby is different, so should be interesting. And 5 people have not set a lap time yet. I did see Ray invalidate his lap, so he'll be going out again. And no one is improved on Lemon's time at the moment, so we'll just keep an eye out on him at the moment. So yeah, it's gonna throw a spanner in the works, I think.
Yeah, or it might just be the ultimate troll weather, where it starts raining but it's never enough for intermediates. So that's also going to be fun for the drivers, I'm sure.
It happened to me in France a few weeks ago, where it said, oh, it's gonna rain towards the end, but it wasn't enough. It was like on the cusp of being dry and wet, and there was no point us going into the pit, so we just stayed on the dry tyres and the wet track. Boy, oh boy, it's very difficult.
Yeah,
It's very difficult.
It is, especially if you are like trying to fight your position, or if you are trying to pull away from a rival because of perhaps a penalty. It gets very intense indeed. As Lehman, despite the rating, get himself through the line with a 126.8, and he was derating through the last corner, so he wasn't really using the full horsepower capabilities of these hybrid power units through the acceleration on the last corner. So yeah, Lehman getting himself further ahead at the top of the table. In the meantime, NTT has gotten himself P2, Blitzkrieg P3 for the time being, so nicely done from the Mercedes driver. Was a little bit of a tank slapper on the transition between Village and the loop, so maybe he lost 1/10 there, but he's certainly going to try to do better than that third place. On the mediums might be difficult, but are going to see what the number 69 does. But yeah, as I was saying before, it could be very intense if the drivers are not prepared. I guess it depends in terms of the setup. It depends on how far into the race the rain shows up for them, because of course they have those splits on their menus, and it gives them a little bit of a more accurate graphical information.
Time.
Yeah, for when the rain comes, and I would say that if most of the race is dry, I would still go on the dry weather setup. So
yeah, that's what I did.
It's going to.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
So I think it's not going to affect too much. You're going to struggle towards the end, but you're going to be more fast on the dry setup when it's going to be dry for most of the race. And since it's the end, it's not going to affect that much. So we've got about 3 minutes and 47 seconds to go. I think there's a few people going out on their out laps at the moment to their final lap. And Ray, debut to the league, has gone fastest so far with a 1:28.4 in his latter session.
Oh
I
yeah.
was talking good on him, and then he just went into the pit suddenly.
I
Oh,
guess he
okay.
disconnected or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing. Because
But
he's 3 tenths quicker than Lemon at the moment, which is pretty good. I'm not sure if it's his AI or if it's actually him. I think it might be actually him. I don't know, but
I think it was him. It's just that it was weird. Instead of him ghosting or something, I guess he just got teleported into the pits when he disconnected. It
yeah,
was rather
that's
weird.
why I was a bit confused. But yeah, very good start from him. And I wonder if we'll see Lemon challenged, or maybe Shadow or Plexit or the guys like that. Maybe Cruises, maybe. I don't know. It's going to be very tough. I can't even do 1:26.4 on this circuit, but they are the best of the best on PC. So, and they drive quite a lot, so it is to be expected around here. But the best time to go out is towards the end anyway. The track starts to evolve. So I think those people in the pits are just waiting for the right moment. And if you're the last person to cross the line, you'll probably have more of a chance of setting a good lap. But it's kind of like a one-shot quali if you not set a lap, which I think is what Crude 6 and JSR are going to do. It's kind of like a one-shot for them. If they screw up, then that's it. They'll be starting from the back of the grid. And no one wants to start at the back of the grid in Silverstone because otherwise chaos can let loose, literally.
Exactly. Yeah, we've seen that plenty of times throughout the years, especially turn one. As it's not a big braking zone, but it's not the widest of approaches to turn one, and especially as it leads into a corner very fast as well, but into the opposite side. Everyone has to have good placements to get those two corners, and sometimes the tarmac is not enough for the amount of cars that are side by side, especially given the different skills of each driver on their starts, right? And also their reaction times. JSR got his lap nullified. I was following him, but he's got his lap nullified. So Kruzix is going to be starting his flying lap on a set of mediums, so we are going to follow him. Let's see what he does. He's also one of those two drivers who haven't posted lap time, so let's see what he can do for the time being. It's we also follow, we can also see a few drivers. For example, Lorman's got himself in P8. He was going a good lap a while ago on the mediums, but he decided to abort that one. Shadow is on a 2-lap old medium compound, which is weird. And Ray, I was going to say he has Rosberg levels of confidence, because I don't know if you remember, but it was China 2013. It just goes into Q3, pops a lap time, and by the end of qualifying, he was already out of his car. He just popped one lap, got out with about 5 minutes to go, and then he got pole. So
yeah, I've noticed that.
nice flexing there from Ray. Let's see if that backfires on him or not.
I think if some people remember, there wasn't the free-step qualifying pretty much. It was like all the drivers actually qualified in one day, and everyone just waited to see if they did enough to get pole, and they had pretty much a few laps to do it. So they had more of a chance in this setup, and Shadow is not going to set a time as he's retired once again. As the checker flag has now fallen, we've got Entity going towards the hanger straight now, and I think Plexus is not going to get in time because he was on his outlap, or he might have got invalidated. I don't know. Lemon is going through Cops, no, Maggots and Beckett. So let's just follow Entity as he goes through to what he just cast Val. He goes into club now. He's got plenty of BRS to play with. Let's see what he does. It's P4 at the moment, so not enough for pole. I'm just seeing what Lemon and Ray's going through, I think, towards Luffield. Lemon going through Vale. Yep, that's what he does. And we've got Ace of Spades, P6. We've got Crew 6, P8, so he got a lap in. But what about
Ooh,
Lemon, P2?
Sorry, Ray hits the wall. Very harsh impact, and he is out of the session. Blitzkrieg is going to nullify his lap. He's going to the pits. Kaiwashimi just gets by.
JSR can't
Yes.
improve either. JSR can't improve. He's in the grass.
Yeah.
And I think the only person that's out on a lap at the moment is Kai. So I wonder where he could come on the grid. as he goes past Club now. He's looking to finish higher than 8th place today, which, based on his consistency, he wants to go for it. He goes across the line now, 1:27.2, P7. So good lap from him, but that means Ray Ray is on pole position by 1/10 of a second.
Exactly. It was very close. I thought Lehman was going to get his lap nullified because he got wide through Stowe. So it was. I thought the game was going to nullify him. Nonetheless, very close stuff between the top two. Kaibishimi getting P7. Gilbewand got himself not the greatest of qualifying performances. He wasn't able to hook up a lap, and is going to be on his best lap time of a 1:44, so not exactly ideal. JSR also not getting a good performance, so unfortunately those two are going to be starting from the back of the pack. JSR, he has scored some points. He actually got a podium P3 at Azerbaijan, but Gelbovan debuted at Austria with the 13th place. He hasn't gotten any points yet, so hopefully he could get going through the pack and have a bit of a recovery drive. Let's see how that one goes. So that is the end of qualifying, and while we wait for the drivers to get sorted out with their engineers in terms of the strategies, of course it looks like, yeah, the skies are pretty threatening at the moment. But for those who start the race on the softs, they will have to pit between the laps 10 and 13 to take a set of mediums, or if the rain comes and it is enough for intermediates, they could just go for another set of softs and pray that the rain is enough for intermediates. Or those who start on the mediums would go medium soft and pit between lap 22 and 25. Of course, they could also try to take the hard tires all the way to the rain and not pit, and then only pit for intermediates. But for that, they have to wait for the rain to come and to be enough for a change of intermediate tires. So, yeah. What about anything that you have to point out about these grid, Jess?
Well, I got to say, because we've got 26 laps, and mediums to soft may work. Going on the mediums for the likes of Plexit, Fruitsit, and Shadow can work out well for them, because mediums last quite a bit on this circuit, and if they time it right, they could do a one stop and go on mediums and straight onto the inters if the rain comes out at the right time. So that's a very smart move from those three. But again, we won't know when the rain is going to go exactly. We know it's going to be at the end, but not sure when in the end. So, yeah. And everyone else is on the soft. So, I think one stop is more common, obviously, if it's a dry race. But since it's going to be a wet end to the race, I'm almost certain that it's going to be 2 stops for pretty much all of these drivers, as obviously the top 10 will have to start on the time they set their fastest lap on, and everyone apart from Shadow and Krutitz in the top 10 is on the soft compounded tyre. And I'm surprised quite a lot of people in the bottom half chose the soft, but I guess they want to gain track position at the start, which that's what I would do anyway. So yeah.
It is. Well, it's going to be. Of course, they get the advantage on pure traction, getting out the line on the softer compounds. But I would say about 7 laps in, they are going to start feeling some issues with those. So it's also about how good they are at managing those Pirellis. I really don't like the fact that the Pirellis bring the hardest compounds available to this Grand Prix, but well, it is what it is.
Every year.
It is what it is. We are going to.
And we had the blue hards. We had the blue hards last year. It's now gone this year.
Yeah, those are gone.
Pirelli. Boo Pirelli. Because I would have liked that on Silverstone, but no.
Well, I mean, the compound is probably the same, the C1s, right? But yeah, let's see how it goes. As you now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Lights out, and where we go for the British Grand Prix. We have a good start from Ray, a good start from Lehman. They are going to be side by side approaching turn 1. Let's see who comes out ahead. It's Lehman with a very good start, gets promoted to P1. Iceman gets P3, Entity gets himself P4. Shadow is going to go on his inside into turn number 3. Lehman is still side by side with Ray. Let's see who gets away with it for the battle for P1. Ray retakes first place, so great battle between the Pole and the Spaniard as they getting themselves out of turn 5. It's going to be a drag race now all the way down the Wellington straight. Let's use the first out of those two as they approach Brooklands. It's going to be Ray on the inside. Lehman is going to try to take it around the outside. He's going to turn into the inside. There's contact! And he spins. There's contact between the two of them, and both are out. Both have spun. There's also lots of contact. There's quite a few bits of carbon fiber coming out of some of these cars as Iceman inherits the lead of the Grand Prix. It's Entity in P2, Shadow in P3, Ace of Spades in P4, so great start from him as well. Kaibashimi already moved up to P5. Blitzkrieg also from close to last place, he's already up to P5, challenging Kaibashimi. Blexix gets caught in contact there. Kruzix is going to try to take any pieces that might come his way through Maggots and Backets. Wasn't really able to do so. He's going to get himself in 8th place for now. What about you, Jess?
Wow, the leaders crashing in lap 1 together. That was what I wouldn't want to see. But anyway, the McLaren in P4 just got past Ace of Spades there, but Lawman's just got past Prix, is going into Vale. So great stuff from him. Oh, Ace of Spades is going into the pits, and I thought I saw someone.
Entity made a mistake.
Oh, his NC made a mistake. I thought I saw a Racing Point make a mistake for a minute there, but it must have been my view or something like that. But anyway, we've got a few people going into the pits, has changed their front wing. I'm surprised Ray and Lemon are not going into the pits. So I thought they did have a damage there. So yeah, that is very intriguing. But yeah, Iceman avoided that, and I'm surprised quite a lot of people behind the leaders actually avoided that as well, which I think they kept their cool and kept calm, and that's what helped them avoid the trouble. And that's what you need to do on the first lap here. Take it a bit cautious, but don't go too aggressive, and that's what these guys do. And Cruz has made a bit of a mistake there. He's gone right wide into the gravel there, and we've got the runner who's right on the back of the Haas of Kai Bacchini as well, trying to make a move around Costa. He almost touched him a little bit there, going near Baggets and Baggets. Now, if anyone makes a mistake here, it's going to cost them big time. That's where we've seen a lot of instances before in the past on previous games, as I think Kai holds on to position 4 now, but it's going to be tough. Or it's going to be 3 wide. Lawman is coming into this as well. He's going to be on the back of those two. He can have a slice of the cake as well. You might say see you later if any of those two make a mistake. He's going to try and get the inside of both of them. Is he going to have a look now? No, he is not. He decides to back out of it, which I think is a sensible thing to do, as I think Lemon had just got past Ray as well. So yeah, great job from Normans there, trying to capitalise on anyone's mistakes that come into play. So he could play a very big part in the battle. Oh, and Ray's out. Ray's out. I don't know what happened there.
I was actually on board with him. He just rage quit. He turned into the wall, and that was it for him. Lorman's, as you were saying, yeah, he did well. What?
Excuse me, we have a battle for the lead again, but this time with Shadow and Iceman. We've got Shadow goes to the outside here at the start of sector 2. So two of the greats battling for the lead here. Shadow staying out of trouble on the first lap, and it's paid off for him. And on the mediums as well, he inherits the race lead. But isn't Iceman going to have a go at him going towards Cops? No, not quite, as Shadow is falling away. But wow, that was a very good move from Shadow. Did what he needed to do, and he's in the race lead once again, like we saw in Austria.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Blitzkrieg, though, took advantage of that battle to close in a little bit as Entity drops a place to Lehman coming out of Cop, so maybe a mistake from the Haas driver. But jumping back to the McLaren, Blitzkrieg was caught up quite a bit. I was actually on board with the McLaren. You could physically see the amount of distance he closed in the top 2, while they lost speed by going side by side into Cops, as we have Lehman overtaking Kruzix. So Lehman is starting to recover a little bit, already up to P8, and of course he's been shown signs of being very fast. He might have his race compromised, but he's going to do what he can to get himself a respectable result once again. As we have Miscu going himself into the pit, so disastrous start of the race for both Mercedes. But you were mentioning possible damage from Lehman, and oh, JSR drops a place, and Cruisix does so. Entity overtakes the Red Bull, and yes, exactly. Entity overtakes the Red Bull, and Lehman moves up to P7. Is now about 2 seconds away from Kai Bashimi, as the youngster is following Lormans for a P5. But as I was saying, they had contact, but it was only wheel-to-wheel contact. It was enough though to make the Williams spin, and then once the Williams spun, its rear end touched the side pod of the Mercedes, and that's why both spun. As I can see, the skies are spitting down at the moment. It is raining already. It is raining already, Jess. I don't know if you can see. I don't know what graphical settings you have.
I can see it. I was not expecting that. One of the drivers said it's going to rain at the end of the race. It is not the end of the race, it is lap 4. So, everyone, we'll just have to wait and see then when will be the best time for the inters then. I think it's not going to rain that hard enough yet, but we will see. Wow, that came far too early. That's probably shocked quite a lot of drivers, including Shadow as well. I think one's on the mediums, I think. As someone pointed in the chat, medium runners are going for master or disaster class. The medium runners probably, I think, seeing the rain, probably are thinking in their heads, why now? They were hoping it was going to come to the end. It's not, and it is coming down really hard. But speaking of, I forgot to mention something, which I usually do every week. Supercharge Award, the person who's gained the most positions after the end of lap 3. But I forgot to do it at lap 3, so I'll do it now. And it goes to the Renault driver of Plexit, who's gained 8 positions. So he started 12th, I believe, and he's up to 4th. So cracking start from him. And close mentions from Lormans and Entity.
Kai Bashimi, in the meantime, had an off moment. He went on an excursion through the gravel trap at Luffield, and he's dropped down to P8. He's going to come under pressure from his own teammate. We might have a Haas situation coming into Cops. I do believe in the real life both Haas also crashed around here, wasn't it? I actually didn't see the race, but I do believe they had a crash at this point of the track. Entity having a cheeky look down the inside of Kai Bashimi, but backing out from it sensibly. In terms of the rain, we have yellow flags already. Not sure who might have caused them.
Oh, it's the other Mercedes. So both Mercedes are not going to get any points, but meanwhile Entity was going to try and make a move on Kai, but he's on the grass. But already DRS is disabled.
Exactly. Wow. I was going to say maybe the medium. Oh wow, Gilbo ones.
Everyone's going off the circuit. We've got Shadow, Iceman, the McLaren, Plexit, Lormans, Lemon, JSR, Kai. Pretty much everyone. Everyone who is out is going into the pits. It is literally everyone is struggling on those dry tyres on a wet track. So Inters is going to be the tyre to be right now. If they weren't going to go on Inters now, it's probably going to be the wrong decision. So I think Shadow has breathed a sigh of relief that he's still come out in the lead there. So maybe his strategy hasn't come off worse after all, but we'll see. But look at Iceman though, 7/10 behind Shadow, so he's gained quite a bit of time in the pit stop. So I'm not sure if Shadow got holed up a little bit there, but we could see a battle between Iceman and Shadow again, like we saw earlier on in the race, and I'll be excited to see that if that happens.
Exactly. Blitzkrieg not only did a mistake coming into Stowe, but he also got held up, so he is now 6 seconds behind. But it was actually a bit of a scary moment, because there's a spin from Gilbewand. Gilbewand makes a spin coming out of turn 5, maybe caught out by the conditions, and he's dropped down to P10. Entity might actually claim the position from the German. Now he's very far behind, and I was going to say exactly about the Haas drivers. Kai Bashimi replaced his front wing, so he really held up Entity, because Entity was stacked and had to wait not only for Kai to replace his front wing, but then he had to wait for the animation of the pit crew to let him into the pit slot himself. So yeah, that's going to bite him quite a bit. Kai Bashimi already 7 seconds behind JSR, and it was actually quite scary because Kai Bashimi was coming out of the pits at exact the same time Plexit was coming into his slot, and the Renault pit crew is exactly ahead of the Haas team, so that was inch perfect to almost was a collision there. Of course, I do believe in the pits the cars ghost, but
Yeah, they do.
yeah, I've actually seen in other
Wait a minute,
games.
I think we have Lemon, who is with a battle with the Renault of Plexits at the moment. So Lemon is on a comeback then, as he goes towards the final start-finish straight then, and I think he keeps position from Plexit, but can Plexit challenge him? There's no DRS in any of the straights due to the fact that it is heavy wet rain, so all they're going to rely on is slipstream. So Plexit is going to find it difficult. You may notice that they may run low ERS in the rain, try to save it a little bit, and also try to save a bit of fuel as well, just so they don't burn their intermediate tyres as well. So should be interesting there.
Exactly. Lehman was actually behind Plexits before that exchange, so it was actually a beautiful maneuver from Lehman. He went at it through Vale and into the chicane of before Club. He got himself on the inside that turned into the outside, and he actually kept the traction down. Good job on Plexits to also play ball and to give him the space he is required. But Lehman, a beautiful maneuver around the outside, just shows his superiority around the track, and just maybe just a higher skill in the rain, just got the traction down perfectly to get around Plexits and get himself back into the top 5. JSR also catching a little bit up with the Renault, because of course Plexits and Lehman lost a bit of time battling through the last sector. And JSR might also have something to say, as Gilbo One does another mistake, another spin.
He's struggling today on those wets. Yeah, to be honest, Ruben, it is his second race, and you never know, he may not have experienced a wet race properly on this game, so this could be very difficult for him. He might be under pressure a lot to try and get some points.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he is a reserve driver, so he wouldn't get any points for the Racing Point team anyway. Yeah, at least for his own pride, I would say a good result will do wonders for him. He's really struggling, and he looks like it's at the exit of corners, so he's a bit too eager to get the throttle down. It also comes with a bit of peace of mind, I guess, because sometimes you make a mistake, then you try to get back the time, and then you end up doing an even bigger mistake later on, because you are starting to push. So a bad day got slightly worse. He got a bit of a recovery job from the qualifying, because he got last place through qualifying. Yeah, not really going to plan the day of the German driver of the Racing Point.
No, it's not. It's a shame, really, but he's not that far. If any one of the guys in front of him had penalties, he could still get a point, so it is not over yet. As long as he keeps going, as long as majority of drivers keep going, then they will rate the rewards and get good results here today. So it's not over yet for the Racing Point, and it's not over until the checkered flag falls. So I wonder also, will we see these conditions get worse, or will this wet weather stay the same on Inters? Because that is going to be interesting to see if it's going to get if it's going to be full wets. I don't think it's going to be full wets. I don't know. They didn't tell me if it's going to be full wets. I forgot to ask that, actually. I should have done, but I forgot.
No, don't worry. It's just full wets. I think full wets only come when it's sometimes it's heavy rain and full wets don't even come. So it needs to be the stormy conditions. At least it's the game that Codemasters gives to those, or monsoon conditions. I mean, it might get our interpretation of it might get skewed, because I'm currently on board with JSR, and the visibility is quite reduced because it's getting all that water kicked up from the Pirellis into Rato Greens in the Renault of Plexits. That water gets thrown right into the face and into our camera, so visibility is quite impaired. But the rain itself, I'm not sure if it is considered heavy rain. So I do think the intermediates will be the tires to be on until the end of the rain or the end of the race.
Yeah, I think so as well, and we will keep an eye on the drivers, and if they do start to struggle, then maybe it might be the best time to change tyres as well. And due to the fact it's wet, we don't know when these guys are going to pit. We don't know how long these inters are going to last for. Some of these guys can take the inters to the end, which I think is very doubtful, especially if they want to push for a high position. Most of these guys might want to pit again for a fresh set of inters if they want to, if they want to get high up the grid and try and push the speed a little bit. And because it's raining as well, the fastest lap is pretty much gone, done and dusted, because it's not going to be dry towards the end. So the fastest lap point is if he stays in the point, it's going to go to the debutant of Blitz. He gets fastest lap. So I don't think anyone's going to improve on that in these wet conditions. So at least the McLaren driver is going to get a point if he stays in the top 10. So that is one guarantee for him. So I think he's gonna use that as confidence for the rest of the race if he knows he's got fastest lap.
Yeah, he's doing a good job, the reserve driver today. Blitzkrieg is doing a good job. He's unfortunately not as comfortable in the rain as the top two. The gap was 6 seconds at one point. Coming out of the pits, it's now 8, almost 9. As we have JSR taking a bit of a lunge. Wasn't quite enough to get alongside Plexis, but it was enough to let the Renault driver know that, hey, I am here, and if you slip up, I'm going to take your place. Plexits did get scared a little bit. He thought JSR was going to smack into him, because I could see physically the steering wheel of Plexits changing direction to open up the trajectory, as Plexits, speaking of opening up the trajectory, gets wide coming out of Cops and gets a 3-second penalty. But yeah, JSR maybe starting to get a bit of mental warfare, of psychological warfare there in this race, because of course it's also going to be quite important, because you don't have the slipstream and the RS. It won't be too effective to make maneuvers, so it's all about your skill in the rain and your capabilities to slow down the car in the braking zones. Of course, someone can get a bit of inspiration from Daniel Ricciardo and just send it. JSR is starting to... I could listen to his tires screaming for traction on the braking zone into club, but... yeah, JSI is going to maintain himself at about half a second away from Plexits, at least from for the time being. In terms of the other drivers, there hasn't been much change. Iceman continues about half a second away from Shadow, so those two are also very consistent. Lormans might have a go at Blitzkrieg though, because Blitzkrieg is not as comfortable as the top two, and Lormans is right behind him, and Lehman is half a second behind the Racing Point, so he might have a three-way battle for third place, Chess.
Yeah, this time Lemon is going to be at the back of this. Last time we saw a three-way battle, Lorman was at the back of this three-way battle. Now it is Lemon in the Williams. So how is Lorman going to face on the attack instead of being cautious? Well, knowing him, he's going to be hungry for it, but he's not going to take as much risks in the rain. If he doesn't want to go for a move because it's too risky, he won't go for it. And Lemon will just fight for that opportunity. As soon as any of those two make a mistake, he'll make the move and he could possibly do a double overtake. So at the moment, we've got the McLaren leading that train. It's going to be really hard for him, but I think Lormans is going to close up. If it was DRS, I'm sure he would have got the move done by now. But he's going to try now through Stowe, but again, some defensive driving from Blitz there for him to keep onto P3, but I think he's struggling again. He's losing. The McLaren, I've noticed, has lost a bit of time to the cars in front, in particular the Racing Point. And whilst Lormans and the McLaren are still fighting, Lemons is catching up as well, again, to about 5/10 per second. Because the more you battle, the more the cars behind will start to catch up as well. So maybe Plexic could join in if the battle doesn't end anytime soon. We've seen that, and we've seen a few people lock up on those tyres already, which it just goes to show it is very, very difficult, as you could barely see. It's really difficult. I don't know how these drivers do it, but Lormans is giving everything he's got right now. He is taking every single advantage of Blitz's mistake, as he almost went wide then, the McLaren driver, but luckily he was at the right place at the right time there to go back on the track well, on the racing line. So
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Jess, but JSR overtook Plexits. That could have been contact, because when I went on board in Plexits, he was sideways trying to save the car by counter-steering. He managed to do so. I don't detect any damage in the front wing of the Renault. There might have been wheel-to-wheel contact. I don't know for sure what happened, but nonetheless, JSR moved up to P6. And
wow.
he might join the party for that top 5 battle. Lehman continues himself hunting down. Very close chase between Lehman, Lormans and Blitzkrieg. Blitzkrieg is really not comfortable. The gap is already down to 11 seconds. These two guys are really cursing the rain at the moment, because if it was dry conditions, they would be blitzing past Blitzkrieg. So it would be much easier. Looks like Lormans is just close. Oh, Lormans, a big mistake! A big lockup from him, and Lehman says thank you very much, moves up to 5th place, but yeah, Lorman's just getting caught out by the lack of grip, just too close to Blitzkrieg, less of effectiveness from the front wing and the brakes as well. So as you start getting depleted out of that fresh air by being too close to the car ahead, your brakes don't cool down as quickly, and your front wing isn't as effective, so it doesn't help slow down the car as well as before. So it unfortunately Lormans doing a mistake and is already over a second behind Lehman, and Lehman might now have a go at Blitzkrieg, because I do believe the gap between Blitzkrieg and Lehman's pace was bigger than between Lehman and Lormans. So Lehman, I do believe he had the best or the easiest parts done, so to speak. Now it's going to be Blitzkrieg, and he needs to really up his pace. So we have yellow flags again. Did you see anything, Jess?
Well, I saw Kreutz. Well, I looked at the gaps earlier, and Kreutz was about 3 tenths or 5 tenths behind the car in front, which I wasn't sure what it was. And then he dropped to 10 seconds, and now 19. Down to 19. So. And I think he's got, I'm not sure if he's struggling in those wet conditions or not, or he might have had contact, but I can't really tell if he's got damage, but he is losing quite a bit of time. He seems to gain a bit again, up to 8 seconds, so he's going to catch up to the Renault driver anyway. Meanwhile, apart from Iceman and Shadow and Lemon and Blitz, there's not much battle happening at the moment. Maybe JSR can catch up. Oh! Lemon's going into the pits. He is probably going to put on a fresh set of engines. Or would it be wet? We will see.
I would say it is wet tires, because the rain has intensified. At least from my perspective, I do believe the rain has intensified. I think you might very well go into the full wet. Of course, we'll see. And no, looks like it was intermediates. Oh well. The tires do get worn out rather quickly, and if there is certainty that the drivers will have to pit, this would be the better option from Lehman, because instead of being stuck behind Blitzkrieg, he's going to have clean air in front of him. By the way, you were mentioning Kruzik's having issues. He was behind Kaibashimi. Plexits also had issues. He also had a moment, so he got overtaken by GSR and also had another moment that saw him get passed by youngster Kaibashimi, who is currently on his best result of the season. If the race finished right now, he would have the best result of the season, the number 14 of the AS, so very well done from him. And Lormans back to less than a second away from Blitzkrieg, so Blitzkrieg can breathe a little bit easier at the moment, but let's see how much easier he can and for how long, because Lormans is sure to be catching up to him.
And if people do the same as Lehman, or Lemon, or Lemon, that's it, will these guys go into the pits now, or will they opt to go for a few more laps, see if the rain intensifies, or they would go, you know, I don't know, but I think some of them will probably try and go out for a few more laps and see what happens. But there's some bits of the track I've noticed where the visibility is better, but there's some bits of the track where you can't see a thing, and there's puddles everywhere. So typical Silverstone, eh? There's lots of umbrellas everywhere. Oh, and it's not going Galbaband's day, is it? He is spinning again in, I think, is it Cox? Yeah, it is Cox. So, yeah, he is way off the pace at the moment. He's probably going to get lapped soon, I think, unless he's lapped already. Let me just check. Well, he's almost going to get lapped, so, and he's got a time penalty for that as well. I will check time penalties in a minute towards the end, because things might change, as we've got another penalty for Mesa Spays. Iceman still going on to the back of Shadow, so he can catch up. Not yet, but he may wait towards the end once the tyres start to fade a little, so we will see.
Exactly. There was also a moment between Blitzkrieg and Lormans. Lormans moved up to P3, then Blitzkrieg trying to keep up with the racing points.
I missed that.
Trying to keep up with the racing points. Also dropped the rear coming out of the loop, turn 4, and that caused JSR to get very close to the McLaren. There was a bit of side-by-side battling into Brooklands, but Blitzkrieg got the advantage that time around, so JSR is going to step back a little bit and is going to keep on the chase for that P4 of the McLaren driver. In the meantime, we also have Iceman and Shadows. You were saying they are very close, but not really battling. They look like they are firmly equal in terms of pace. They are being very consistent. Iceman gets slightly wide to turn number 1. Not going to cost him too much time though. But yeah, those two are really close in terms of pace, and it could be the second race win in a row for Shadow. And it could extend even further his championship lead, especially since the P2 in the championship, Plexits, is in 7th, and the third place in the championship in Famous is not racing today, as we have Cruzits going into the pits. Let's see, is it time for another set of intermediates, or is it going to be full wets?
I don't think it's the... We'll see. I don't think it's right for wet, but no, it is another fresh set of inters.
Exactly.
I think if it was going to be full wet, I think it would have been much worse. It's not chucking it down. Well, it is raining, but it's not chucking it down. It's just like light rain at the moment, but visibility may need to improve a little bit. So I think if some of the other guys don't pick fruits, it can possibly gain an advantage on Entity if Entity starts to struggle, but Entity seems to be alright in the points at the moment, so we are pretty much halfway. Yeah, we are over halfway of this race now, and so much has happened already, so much unpredictability. It is quite hard to know what tyres, what strategy are they going to go on to on this wet weather. Even us commentators don't know either, so it's all about people's gut instincts for the end. And I can tell, Ruben, a lot of these drivers are going to get so tense and their hearts must be racing, as I think Lexus has just dropped position there.
Yeah, he lost it out of Cop's spun, front wing damage. Yeah, and front wing damage as well. He's going to the pits to replace that one, drops down. That's a very big mistake from him, and he's going to have to go to the pits for a replacement of front wing. He was going to probably pit around this time anyways, but yeah, either his setup or the Pirelli tires or his maybe a driving mistake, maybe his ability is failing him. And yeah, he's going to drop down to P8. Job easier for Lehman, who it's less one driver for him to overtake on this massive undercut is going on at the moment. So it's going to be tough for Plexits to get back, especially he's going to lose plenty of time by replacing his front wing. He could still maybe salvage P8 or P9, because for example, people like Entity still have to pit. But yeah, let's see how that one develops. In the meantime, JSR is still giving close chase to Blitzkrieg, and Iceman is still giving close chase to Shadow, so not much has changed on that front. It would be nice to see a bit of lack of patience, perhaps, from these drivers. Exactly as I say that, Blitzkrieg is in the wall. Blitzkrieg is in the wall, and I'm going to try to figure out where it is. It's the last corner, isn't it? No, it was...
towards Cops.
It's Cops, yeah, it was Cops. I saw the pit exit. I thought it was the pit entry for out of the last corner.
Yeah,
but it was the pit... It was the old pit exit, not the current pit exit. That's why I got a bit confused. But okay, yeah, I lost the rear. Exactly. Did he get damage? He didn't get damage in the front wing, so he managed to save that. But Kaibashimi gets promoted to the top 5, so very nicely done from him, Jess.
I think he is trying to avoid trouble at the moment. And speaking of Kai, he's going into the pits. So, and I think we've got the first person to join the speeding in the pit lane club around Silverstone. But it is quite short. Pit entry, I gotta say, it definitely does catch my eye. 9 times out of 10 I get it wrong. So yeah, because when I was practicing, like I think I was practicing at the weekend, I pretty much got a 5-second stop go when I was practicing due to the fact that the pit lane caught me out. So, oh, okay. So
Full wets, yeah.
Kai and Blitz are going on full wets. Is it? Well, we're gonna keep an eye on both of these to see if the full wets is enough, because I wasn't sure the full wets were gonna be enough, but we'll see as he's gonna try and get past Prutix, who is in on the intermediate tyres. So this is gonna be a true benchmark then. Is the inters faster all the full wets? So it's good that these both of them are close together, because we can see who is thriving. Or did the full wets pit early? I don't know. I don't know strategy on the full wets on this game, but yeah, it is chucking it down. It is absolutely chucking it down. So
I'm not sure if the game has. Does this game have lightning?
no, it doesn't have a storm. No storm on this game. So
I could have sworn.
Otherwise we would. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to hear you. But he doesn't. He doesn't seem to be dropping. Kai doesn't seem to be dropping off Cruisit, and I do believe JSR is going to pit for full wets as well. So I think the McLaren and the Haas have timed that very well. So good on them for going on to the full wets there. They must have been very smart there. And yeah, JSR goes on full wets before the leading bunch. So that's going to be absolutely intriguing. As McLaren, I think is. I think Cruise's got past McLaren. I think
Exactly.
So I think it's the cusp of being into full wet. You don't know what tyres you're going to be on, and any tyre might do. And Plex, because we've got 2 people on the wet, one person is struggling, one person is doing all right. So we don't know the full extent of which tyre is the best right now. I still don't know. So
I think it's touch and go. Especially Blitzkrieg has been struggling in the wet the entire race, but Kaibashimi, a bit of a tank slapper there from Kaibashimi coming out of turn 3. But
that was close.
Yeah, that was indeed. Kaibashimi is overall he's doing well on those full wets. JSR doesn't look like he's doing big mistakes, but the man who either got a genius decision or shot himself in the foot is Lehman. Lehman went into the pits for an undercut on those intermediates. So it's...
So did Cruisit.
Yes, so did Cruisit. So it's going to be very, very difficult. Plexit's also pitted after his crash where he got fronting damage. He also pitted for a new set of intermediates. So either the remaining drivers are going to pit for full wets, and the full wets actually work, or it's touch and go enough for the intermediates to be around the same pace, and Lehman is going to have a massive advantage for having less than half of the lap tire usage than the top 3, right? He might get a huge advantage that way, or it's actually going to become full wet tires and he's going to have to pit once again and potentially even lose the top 5 or the top 4 to JSR. So we have yellow flags once again. Not sure what those are for. Maybe Gelbo one in another. Yes.
Plexit. Cop's corner again.
Yes, Plexit is in the wall. Gilbo one was also having an excursion off the track, but Plexit is going from bad to worse. It's wow. It's really gone downhill. Really gone downhill for both Renaults. Actually, sorry, no, not both Renaults. Shadow is doing well. Plexit second time he crashes. And yeah, you can see the understeer is going to take that to the pits for replacement of front wing once again.
I'm guessing he's going to change to full wets as well, because he is struggling on those inters. Like
Iceman is having a go at Shadow. Shadow did get a bad exit out of Stowe. Iceman is going to be chomping at the bits to get past the British driver. He's getting, the car complaining a little bit as he puts the traction down out of club as we begin lap number 21. 5 laps to go here at Silverstone. I don't think...
Plexit is out.
Plexit is out. But I was saying, I don't think... these drivers are going to pit for brand new sets of intermediates. They are going to stretch them. I don't know how long they are supposed to last, but I do believe they are getting on them quite old. I would say.
He's struggling. He's weaving. You can
is.
see there's a few puddles as well. So I don't know. It kind of reminds me of towards the end of a race where it gets dry to wet, where you don't want to go onto the full wet, but you want to try and it's too late to go onto like a full wet, but you want to stay on those inter tyres and still try and keep it on the track. But knowing Iceman and Shadow, if they were to stay on the intermediates, I think they could do it, because I know Shadow seems to be fine. I'm almost certain I can see Shadow in front, and he's having no trouble with those intermediates. As long as for him, as long as the conditions doesn't get worse. If it gets worse, he's going to be in trouble. If it stays as it is, he can keep going and not worry about losing time. 'Cause he's not losing any time to the guys behind, so he should be fine. So it's kind of like in between, because I've experienced I think it was in China when I was commentating, where it got to the point where it was dry, and then it was inters, and then it went to full wet, but it was still enough for inters as well. So I don't know. It does depend on the setup as well, like you were saying earlier, Ruben.
Yeah.
People might have to pit earlier and for full wet due to their setup, maybe, but some people can go on the inters if their setup can let them race on these conditions on the inters, which is what Iceman is. Iceman seems to be struggling a lot more than Shadow, but Shadow seems to be doing a lot better. So, but Prix is right behind Entity as well. So, yeah, it is touch and go towards the end there. This is going to be a very spicy end if this stays the way it is.
Oh, Kruzix does get a better. Oh, not Kaiwashimi, Entity gave him a bit of a squeeze. Kruzix still gets a better exit, just gets a higher top speed and got himself alongside. There's a bit of wheel bang as they get themselves through Stowe, and Kruzix around the outside. Beautiful maneuver from him. Moves up to P6. Great maneuver from Kruzix. Of course, Entity has 15 old lap intermediate tires, but as I was speaking, it might be also a mental thing. You were saying that Iceman is struggling a bit more than Shadow. It could be also a bit of mental fortitude, because Iceman he has to push, right? If he wants to overtake Shadow, if he wants to win, he has to push. So when you are pushing, it's more likely that you do mistakes, right? So it might be something like that. It might also be a little bit of a setup thing. Maybe the car is more stable on the Renault side of things. So yeah,
that's what I was saying earlier.
exactly. There are a lot of variables. It is also, I agree with you, it is too late for, even if the full wets are the best tire at the moment, it is too late to pit. And if anyone pitted right now, for example, if Iceman pitted right now, it wouldn't be close enough to still overtake Shadow before the end of the Grand Prix. So it is rather unfortunate. It's going to be a bit of a battle of attrition at this point. Who can survive longer? Who can be more collected? Who can be the smoothest on their inputs? Maybe they can channel their inner button and be smooth on their inputs to take the cars to the end. I can see in chat Waze is saying that Iceman is so fun to watch on board. He is at the moment, because he's struggling a little bit. He gets sometimes sideways and all that. So I guess he's channeling his inner Raikkonen, so proper naming, because Raikkonen was a rally driver for a bit, right? So maybe he's channeling that side of Raikkonen's career, and Iceman doing his best to keep the car under control.
Yeah, and I like that Iceman's doing a bit of drifting, because I like a bit of rally too. I do a bit of rallycross when I don't do F1, and it's a lot of fun. So, and Silverstone is actually a rallycross track, so if it's a place to do it in the wet, then Silverstone would be the right track, I must say. So I'm surprised he's still keeping the car intact, but he's pretty tense behind Shadow now. So he's starting to pick up the pace a little bit, but he's not going to quite make the move onto Stone. Maybe he almost had a look there, but not quite. You can barely see at the moment. It's getting very worse, but if they pit it now, then it's not going to hurt them. But they are probably going to find it a little bit slippery, and they're going to take it a little bit more cautious towards the end of the Grand Prix. I'm almost certain that these guys will be taking it cautious. They won't be pushing it too much compared to what they were doing a few laps ago on the intermediate tyres. It's just, I don't know how these guys do it on the inters. I would just die and go into a wall. So these guys seem to be doing very well. That's the only battle that's happening at the moment. Everyone else is pretty much nowhere out of either the 1 second range or even the 10th range. I think they're between 4 to about 18 seconds. So these two are the guys to watch right now as we head to the end.
Oh boy, I can really feel the hunger in under the helmet of Iceman, because
I'll
Iceman
check penalties as well.
in
I'll
terms,
check penalties.
yeah, check please, because Iceman, he hasn't had a podium finish, he hasn't had a win. His best results are 5th place at China. And oh, sorry, he got a 4th place at Azerbaijan, but he got a 5th place at China, 4th at Azerbaijan, and 5th at France. So he hasn't gotten on the podium. It looks like he's going to do so today, and I can see a bit of hunger from him, especially the way he drives. He's getting sometimes a little bit greedy because he tries to get out of the corner, even though he's sideways. He doesn't lift off, so he just corrects the car using the steering wheel. He's getting a bit greedy, but yeah, it's all due to his hunger for the win. He did lose a little bit to Shadow through the previous lap, but it's certainly fun to see Iceman going for it. What did you find, Jess?
It is nice to see going up for it. Now, penalty situation, Shadow, no warnings, no penalties whatsoever. Clean slate. I don't know how he does it, but he is looking unstoppable. Iceman, on the other hand, if he was to overtake Shadow, that would still not give him the win, as he's got 1 penalty to his name. He got it on, I think it was lap 5, so let me just double check. No, it wasn't lap 5, it was lap 9, so it was the start of the inter period, and I think that was the only penalty. Yeah, that's the only penalty he's got, but he's on his final warning now. If he gets another warning, he will get another penalty, so he's got to keep it clean if he gets past Shadow. He's got to be, I think, 3 seconds clear. Oh, he almost had a look again there, so if it stays as it is, even if Iceman gets past Shadow, Shadow will still win this race because Shadow will have no penalties.
Well, I apologize, Jess. I was looking at chat, and Derek Vlogs says I sound like a Russian John Travolta. Okay.
What? Wait, the commentator sounds like Russian John Travolta. Oh my god.
Well, I appreciate that you like my voice. I'm actually Portuguese. It might have something to do with it, but yeah, I appreciate that you like it. Thanks a lot for the kind words, man.
Oh my god, I can't stop laughing now. Jeez. Right, okay, I'll stop. Cruisits gets another penalty as well, but I don't think that's gonna benefit a lot. But I think with that penalty Iceman has got, he's gonna be more hungry to get this position, and he tries to get it around the outside, but Shadow closes the door on him past Stowe then. Iceman is probably going to have a look around the inside, going into Vale and then into Club coming up now. It's good that they're not touching. They've got, it's literally the final, pretty much almost going into the final lap. It is going to be hard to see. Oh, Iceman slid again. This might cost him a little bit. Meanwhile, whilst we're seeing this, Blitz has got past Entity.
Exactly.
So I think the wets are the ties beyond right now, but it is too late for these guys to go into the pits. We haven't seen what the penalties are going to do. It is, Iceman is on the brink. He could make another mistake. I hope he doesn't. I hope he keeps these penalties. I hope he only keeps it to 1 penalty. If he gets a penalty, another penalty anyway, it's not going to affect him because Lormans is 14 seconds down the road. So no matter what, he's going to finish P2.
I do believe the full wets are finally coming into their own. Because Blitzkrieg overtook Kentitai, and JSR is really catching up to Lehman. Lehman has at least 1 penalty, he just got it. So Lehman is probably going to get demoted. The full wets have finally starting to get full power now. And JSR is very, very close to Lehman. Lorman, not Lormans, Iceman has lost out quite a bit to Iceman. Sorry, Iceman lost quite a bit to Shadow. And
I was gonna say, there's no 2 Icemans. Are you seeing double or something? But meanwhile, yeah, the full wets are coming into fruition as Kai Bacchini has just got overtaken his teammate into turn 1. So yeah,
it is
wet tires definitely the place to be right now. But I think the guy we need to be watching now is Shadow. He has put on a faultless performance all race. I'm just going to check where he started actually. He started P5 and he let go of people's misfortunes of Ray Ray and Lehman, and he overcome them, and he goes on to win his second race in a row, his third race of the season. Iceman takes P2, he's going to stay P2, it doesn't matter how many penalties he's got, he's going to stay P2. And another person to have a very good race is Lawman's, but meanwhile JSR and Lemon are fighting past Stowe now. Lawman is going to get P3, JSR has cut the corner a little bit there. Is he forced to gear the position? Nope, they're going to still go for it. And I think JSR might have the edge here. We don't know what penalties are going to come into it. JSR's going to come across the line now, and I think he's going to keep P4. Yes, he does, as Lemon has hit the wall. So JSR, a good result for him, his best result of the season as well. But wow, a good performance from Shadow and Iceman to keep those Indus tyres to the end. And only pitting one. Stat just goes to show that they are top-class drivers.
Kruzix just had an alpha approach to Stowe. He literally Tokyo drifted the entirety of it, and he does the same through the line. So very nicely done from Kruzix. At least he's entertaining himself. He actually drops out to P7. Blitzkrieg takes advantage of the penalties. Kaibashimi is going to take that 5-second penalty. Anti-tie crosses over the line sideways and doesn't capitalize on that one. Gets P9. Kruzix P7, Kaibashimi P8. So another best result for Kaibashimi, isn't it? No, he actually is matching the 8th place he got at Austria. And we have
at least he's consistent. At least he's consistent.
Yes, exactly. And we have Ace of Spades getting top 10, and Ace of Spades he gets his second top 10 finish in a row, 9th place finish at Austria, now 10th place. Now getting to the celebrations, as we have Shadow, who takes home the win, the second win in a row, and is going to lift the trophy. Shadow is the winner of the British Grand Prix home race for the Renault driver. And I would say I can only imagine how he's feeling, and that's exactly what I can only do, imagine, because there's no Portuguese Grand Prix in F1 at the moment, so unfortunately for me, I can't really get that feeling, but I'm pretty sure he's very happy, very satisfied about that one. Jess, give us the rundown of the results.
Yes, I will. So Shadow takes a win, no penalties to his name, with Iceman in P2, both of them putting great performances there. We got Lawmans in P3, JSR, another person not to get penalties, so he really came into his own. I will have to give driver of the day to JSR. He started 13th, came on into the full wets at the right time, and he just gained so many positions, and no penalties as well, but I'll go in a minute. Lemon P5, Blitz P6, fastest lap as well. Cruz is P7, Kai 8th, Entity 9th, Ace of Spades 10th, Gelberband 11th, and our DNFs are Plexit, Miscue, and Ray Ray. Driver of the day will have to go to GSR. What do you think?
Yeah, I do agree. He did a very good job, especially after not the greatest qualifying, but he did manage to keep himself clean, managed to get out of the way of trouble, and yeah, just solid, comfortable results there. He had a bit of argy-bargy with Lehman, but Lehman adds 2 penalties, so he didn't even need to get that one. But yeah, it was definitely an exciting race. We weren't expecting the rain to come that soon into the Grand Prix. It came at about lap 5, something like that, but it was very, very surprising to see. Let me just address a chat. Eric Vlog says that I need to come to PS4. I do have PS4, but I'm unemployed at the moment. I can't buy F1 2019 for the PS4, unfortunately. So yeah, that's why I am not there. And also, there are probably other commentators in the PS4 side of things. But yeah, what were you going to say, Jess?
Sorry. Yeah, I asked this topic because I do commentate PS4 side as well.
But I know. It's just not the first year, is it? I don't think.
That would, to be honest, that race had everything apart from a safety car. I'm quite shocked it didn't have a safety car, but typical British weather brings out a spanner in the works, and it definitely brings the entertainment. So I quite enjoyed that race, and that's going to give food for thought for guys that still need to practice for their tiers. Maybe the rain will come to Britain. It's going to be more likely to come to Silverstone more than anything, really. So, and next week, actually, no, we're not here next week because we've got a mid-season break. So the drivers will be recharging their batteries next week, and in about 2 weeks' time, we'll be in Germany for the start of the second half of the season. So that should be a good one.
Exactly. That's hopefully it is as exciting as the real life counterpart, because that one was pretty
That was
chaotic. And we can, well, it is Germany, it is Hockenheim. There's also a quite high rain occurrence rates at that track as well. So yeah, it's certainly going to be a good one, even if it's dry. That circuit really promotes overtaking. It's a really nice one. I really enjoy driving there, and the races I've commentated there have been quite entertaining as well. So pretty sure it's not going to disappoint. So yeah, this is it, guys, for today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give us a like button. If you did not, the dislike button is, as always, right beside it. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. Hit the bell icon for any notifications of whenever we are about to start a live stream or to post a video. Hope to see you guys next time, and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.